This is Albert Wesker, and you're watching LTRE.
What is going on, everyone?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
We're back with the Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast, and of course, we were going to come back on this occasion of the live-action reboot film. We're finally here, John. It's been a year of, I guess, stuff getting leaked and a bunch of stuff coming out, and people were, going to be judging it already from when it came out. But the big argument the whole time was, well, let's go and, see this movie. So we're going to get into it. But before we get into it, obviously, I just want to let people know that we are going to save the spoiler discussion for the end of the show. We're going to let people know. We'll have a little card that comes up that says spoiler. I'll put that in there.
And in the description, obviously, there'll be a timestamp. You guys are going to be able to allow to go straight to spoilers.
So it's just like, I just want people to watch this and know that you don't have to worry about. And even if you're a fan of the game, I still don't want to, and you know kind of what happens. Just when you think you do, you don't.
We're not going to talk about plot points in the first half.
Because that's, again, I just want this to be so anyone can watch this if you're not checking it out for another week or so. The holidays get busy.
Or if you're in another country, you're not getting it for a couple more weeks.
You're not getting it until like December
17th or something like that.
Second week of December.
Yeah, second week.
Yeah. So welcome to Raccoon City. This was so it's like a half a decade since his, films kind of, just stopped suddenly with the final chapter, which was, that was a whole thing in and of itself. But, it was just us constantly getting burned and constantly trying to, figure out how he can stray away from the game so much and still try to manage to pull himself together for each movie. And as he made each sequel and film, it kind of kept falling off the radar. And it doesn't really go without saying that we both kind of feel similar about like how we would rank the movies anyway. We didn't do all of our movie reviews leading up to this.
We will.
But we will pick it up with Extinction, considering now that we're doing this, again.
To your point, I think we do feel very similarly. I think both of us can agree that after the third movie, Extinction, they progressively get worse.
Yeah.
Like worse.
And that's not to say the first three films are perfect Resident Evil movies, because they're not, but we still enjoyed certain aspects of them, like we mentioned in our first two podcast shows talking about them. So if you want to hear our opinions on that, check them out. But
ironically, the movies are best when it's just Alice and our characters are kind of off screen.
Yeah, because
with the exception of Apocalypse with Joe, because
exactly.
you have a film who's like, there is no original characters. We're throwing all of your characters at you. The ones we deem necessary for the story. Anybody who's seen the trailer knows that it's just 4 S.T.A.R.S members, or 5, I guess, counting Vickers, who were only credited as Vickers. They didn't even call him Brad.
No.
But it's just the 5 S.T.A.R.S members and Leon, Irons, Birkin, basically the cast that was already, out there. There's no surprises. There's no corkscrews. It's just... Yeah, it's just the people. They cut Barry, they cut Rebecca, right? Like,
yes, that's something to say too before we get into the plot of what because you already know this plot. Mm-hmm. It's been beaten over your head a million times on this channel as well as in the Resident Evil lore.
Yeah,
and that's the one thing that people were excited about, John. They were like, "Well, this is a movie that we see the mansion, we see the RPD,
yes,
we see these
streets
set designs,
of Raccoon City,
these sets that were built that look." Something out of the game where the movies didn't. They more so just try to recreate scenes and try to throw Easter eggs in, and that's all really it was. That was any reference to that. So people see this and they get excited. They think, well, Roberts can't fuck this up. This looks like he has some ingredients and stuff like that.
At first,
because you're looking at the trailers and you're like, well, look at this. Here's the RPD gate. Here is the Spencer Mansion. Here is Birkin. Here is this, and this. And then, obviously, we get into the main plot in this movie, which is a little... They changed the stuff a little bit. And we can talk about, obviously, the stuff that's out. Like, the plot synopsis has been out about Raccoon City and what they did. In this film, Raccoon City is a ghost town. Now, that's something we read in the Johannes Roberts interview. Johannes. It's like Downey-Tresque. Lady D,
Yeah.
suck a dick. Here
Tomato,
we are.
tomato.
Yeah. So
you can shove your tomatoes
your game
up your
sucks. My game
fucking
sucks.
ass.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, so it's basically like they had to sit there and like, okay, how can we make this a little bit different? Well, let's make Raccoon City a ghost town where most people have left it, and it is essentially Umbrella is moving their operation somewhere else and abandoning Raccoon City, leaving it behind.
Yeah.
And the only people that stay there are poor people or people that can't get out, don't have another way. I guess,
And they directly say that in the movie.
text literally comes on the
Yes.
screen. And
if
again,
you haven't got out if you're poor, which is not a spoiler. That's like from the beginning, and they've already talked about that in the thing.
exactly.
It's very Stephen King-ish, and it is a very almost like Umbrella was the foundation of the city to the point where when they pulled out, it almost is like the blood that run through the city
Completely stopped.
is completely gone,
Yeah.
and everybody that's left is just these poor people who grew up poor or who had no money to leave. They were kind of left with the bare bones skeleton of what
Yes.
Raccoon City used to be, which was his vision.
Right.
That's what he wanted Raccoon
And that
City to be.
bloodline, like you said, being the supply of money and
Yeah.
power completely stopped when all of
The
a sudden
heartbeat.
they're moving. Yeah, it's completely stopped. So the real thing here is the characters that we get and how, again, they try to incorporate them here. And that's the one thing that you're thinking here is, well, this is Resident Evil 1 and 2 in one movie. We know this. We know this from the trailers. We know this from how they're doing the jumping of the timeline. So that is the kind of idea you have to get in your head about the pacing with this film. Because one thing that we had, talked about was, well, how can they manage to jump back and forth, or how do they have these timelines intertwine and actually make it make sense? Well, that's really the thing that they try to get into with this, is that Raccoon City, it is what you know from the games, but they make little changes here and there that you often sometimes question why they even made those changes to begin with. Was it just because Johannes was like, we want to just make these little distinct differences between Raccoon City? I don't necessarily know, but when you get into the depth of it all, because again, we see Claire go into town, and that's how it does start. She goes into town with the truck driver.
She's riding in with the Whitey Bite Me guy.
Right. The whole hitting of the girl in the truck.
I believe that was the international trailer is the one where it showed that first.
Yeah.
Because in the original trailer, it was her on the motorcycle.
Yeah, so it's not like 2 Remake where like it's just the driver and then it's just a one-off kind of thing, and then the driver heads into town. She's actually hitching a ride with him just to get to Raccoon City, which also begs the question, like why doesn't she have transportation? It doesn't really, they don't really fill that in. But this film is a Claire and Chris Redfield film. Now, that's something that we already kind of knew going into this, is that they really wanted to focus on Claire, and if that's not your cup of tea, then, it's not Claire and Leon's film.
No.
It's Claire and Chris's film, and that's something to be said right from the start.
I personally would go as far as to say I don't even think it's Claire and Chris. I think it's just Claire's film.
I would say, yeah.
Very, very close.
Yeah.
And when we get into spoilers, I'll give more details as to why that is. I feel like you kind of feel that way too, maybe a little bit. But I really don't feel like it's Claire and Chris's film. I really do feel like it's just Claire's film, and everybody else are just marionettes in a puppet show.
I feel like
really close to that.
It's one of those things where they ended up putting more emphasis on on just
her character
just
arc.
her.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, again, there was a lot of back and forth where it's like, okay, we might go in this direction with this one character, but then we're going to pull it back and then just focus on Claire, and the other characters sometimes are just seen standing in the background or doing certain things where you're like, well, I wish they were kind of more involved here. Or what about, so the first thing that I would say that I really did enjoy was seeing the mansion on the big screen, seeing the RPD on the big screen. I thought that was, seeing that, I was like, okay.
I mean,
I didn't think that we'd see the day that this would be actually here, but we got here. Now, it's not to say that that's, that it makes me forgive certain things, right? But I still think that seeing how they made it look and the attention to detail was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'd say my favorite part was the city shots and the RPD station. I do not even think, besides the main hall and the piano room, that doesn't even actually look like the piano room, the mansion looks nothing like the game.
No,
on
it
the
doesn't.
Inside.
Only the main hall.
On the inside. Literally only the main hall. So
Which, to be fair...
It looked good, but
to be fair, some people would argue...
Yeah.
Well, it's... Not only as there's their YouTube videos out there that's breaking down how much it actually costs to build a Spencer Mansion and how much those things would cost to replicate, but they pretty much one-for-one recreated the RPD station gate entrance and main hall.
And then the orphanage.
And the orphanage gate.
Which were all leaked online, so people kind of saw them ahead of time and were like, oh, well, that looks good.
Yes.
Which people are right.
And it does look good.
They look good, but...
However...
Go ahead. I'll let you continue.
However... That Spencer Mansion, for what it's worth, did look pretty dope. It's not one-for-one right from the game. It is not close to what they got. They did get a lot of the artwork right. They did get a lot of the opening things right, even down to the staircase that's in the mansion, and the tea room where the zombie turn is. Mm-hmm. They got a lot of that stuff really close.
And it did look good.
It did look really good.
Even though
but it was not what they claimed it to be.
It wasn't
correct.
one for one.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree.
And if the RPD front entrance, which is huge, could have been that one for one, all I'm saying is they could have used more resources to make it better looking. But on the flip side, how much of that was built and how much of that was a location, the front of the Spencer Mansion did look pretty good. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think I speak for both of us when I say the set designs were definitely the strongest suit of the movie.
Absolutely. And it was and
cool, you can tell that they put effort into it. And if anybody thinks this is a spoiler, I apologize. Skip a couple seconds ahead. But things like the alligator from the orphanage, the doll that Sherry solves the puzzle with where she gets the block out of.
Yeah.
Those little details, all of that stuff was really cool. But Anthony, what did we say before the movie came out? There's only so much fancy Easter eggs are going to do for us.
Yeah.
And
you can't carry a movie.
You can't carry a movie on Itchy Tasty. You can't carry a movie on
they gotta
Little
throw
Dolls.
the references in, and they can't have them sitting around the house solving puzzles for 4 hours.
No,
I
of course
understand
not.
there's certain
Of course
things
not.
that they have to dance around a little bit.
Some Easter eggs are not even in the spot that they're supposed to be Easter eggs for. And that really threw me off as a Resident Evil fan. I wouldn't say it was the end of the world, but for example, in the trailer, you do see the heart key.
Yes.
So you do know that the keys are in the movie.
Yeah.
They're not in the station.
No.
And it's like, it leads to the question that you asked earlier, which is kind of where we're leading into our initial impressions without spoilers. It really makes you ask why. Why did you change this?
Yeah.
You have it right here. You have the props. You have the locations.
What made
it looks pretty? What made you change this detail?
Yeah, and I also felt that they didn't stay. I mean, they didn't stay. I don't expect them to stick around rooms for hours, but I just feel like a lot of it was just the police station. It just seemed like it was barely it was there, but it was kind of. It was just all right, to the next area, to the next area. It was very when I wish there was more of what we saw, because they kind of just focused on the RPD lobby, the front, and then the basement and the armory, and then that was it.
It wasn't even
and
really,
the parking garage.
But that was the basement, basically.
Right, which is the same
parking
level.
garage.
Right.
Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, because you go down the stairs, the armory's there, and then the parking garage,
and the prison cell.
Right, but so I just feel like that it is a faster movie. I'm not asking the movie to be longer. I just felt like it was very short-lived. So some of those sweet spots were very short-lived in regards to the set designs. Even though they were great, I just wish that I'll kind of say that later, but I just wish that there was more emphasis on some of that stuff.
I stick by what I said in the preview, which is where I said that I feel like they picked an aspect of each character, they dialed it up to 11. And then kind of forgot about all the stuff that they had along the way.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. And it might be just because the movie's new.
Right.
And I've only seen it once. But somehow they made Claire an unlikable character. More so than Alice.
Wow.
I'm not going to say for 4, 5. I'm not going to say for 4, 5, and 6. But for 1, 2, and 3,
yeah,
I take Alice over this Claire any day. I'd rather watch Alice than Claire. And the reason is because not only did Claire get... is this a spoiler? I'll wait to say... Well, we talk about spoilers. I'll mention this later. Just remind me, guys, in the comments.
Because the spoilers that we talk about will naturally bring up
stuff.
Anyway.
Yes, exactly.
So we won't have to worry about that.
Well, I don't really think this is a spoiler. You know how, like, in Resident Evil, the Anderson films, Alice always got the oh shit moments. Like, she always got the big bad moments. Like the
she would steal the thunder.
She would steal the thunder.
Do whatever.
Nobody got moments like that but Claire in this movie. She is the only one who was coded in the badassery.
A little too much.
And I think the other characters not having, and we will talk about, Jill has a contention one, and Leon has a contention one. But Claire literally, even in the moments, other than one moment that everybody else got their little moment, she still had moments in those. And that's why I said I really feel like this was, if you're a Claire Redfield fan, like I am, I'm a big Claire Redfield fan. This movie's going to feel good at first, and then when you realize the way they're painting her, you're probably not going to dig it. It wasn't Claire.
That's a good point.
It just
I feel
wasn't
like I liked
Claire.
her more in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it tampered off because she was just a little too harsh, a little too...
A very distraught...
Yeah, like
I'm big brain. I have a cigarette and a crazy wall,
right.
And like I want to do, like we said in the preview review. I just kind of feel like Claire,
and she is an orphan.
Yeah,
and we understand that she had this rough around the edges lifestyle and had to fend for herself, so she's a little rough. But I don't really think that I would agree with you on Claire. I would honestly agree 100%. Besides the Alice thing, I don't think she was as bad as Alice. I still like her better, but I still don't think that this is like a Claire that I would say, oh, that's Claire. Like, see it on the screen, be like, that represents remake 2 Claire and original 2 Claire.
Not
and
even close.
Claire from Revelations 2. Like, the Claire that us fans know.
She was none of them.
She didn't really feel like any of them.
Not even Infinite Darkness Claire.
Right.
She was none of them.
Yeah.
And just to save my ass here, because I know people are going to be like mind boggled by this, I want to be very clear. No, I do not like Alice more than Claire. But Alice didn't have a predetermined character to fuck up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Claire does. And I think that's why I'd rather watch Alice. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah, I'd rather watch.
I get you.
Yeah,
and
I'd rather watch
RE2
Alice.
being your favorite game, original.
Oh, 100%. I'm a Claire stan.
Yeah,
I love
the
Claire
Leon.
Yeah, I'm a Cleon.
And how they bring him in is really just like, for Raccoon City, it's a main point of the story that people want to see.
Dustin's a Claire mega fan. It's his favorite character.
But that's again.
And he got 10 minutes into this movie and he leaned over and was like, "Dude, what is happening?
Yeah,
this is bad."
Now that brings us to let's go into Leon.
Okay, Leon's
because,
next.
I
actually have the most to say about Jill, Wesker, and Chris. So this is perfect order for this. So
okay. Yeah.
So go ahead. You go with Leon first.
So with Leon, for me, I think that they specifically use Leon in this to, they use his rookie cop kind of vibe and kind of ran with it in this, where he's kind of getting, made fun of and people are making fun of him, which I like that aspect of that, because that would happen on the real force. Like if you are the rookie and the odd man out, or, you
get clowned on.
You get clowned on. So I like that aspect.
In anything, not just police work.
Yeah.
Anything.
And so he was kind of like the comic relief in this film. And I did find myself laughing, at a lot of the stuff generally, just because I think that his comedic timing is great.
Mm-hmm. Avon Yogi is really good actor.
Avon Yogi is a good actor, and we've said this before in the past when leading up to this, where we're like, hey, he could do a good job. And to be honest with you, he ended up being my favorite in this film.
He's the best actor by far.
He's the best actor in this film because he actually tried, and I just wish, in my opinion, that they just gave him more to do than to just stand around and say some lines. Even though I do like the comedy aspect of it, I just kind of wish that he had more of a dynamic bouncing off of Claire, because Claire's just like, yeah, you should probably do this. You should, like, it didn't feel like the whole, like, I'm saving Claire so you're gonna ride with me, like we're partners through this no matter what. I didn't get that vibe. I just got that she was just kind of like putting up with Leon because he was just kind of like there's like, oh, you don't really want to do this, do you? Or you don't want to really do this, this, and this. It's just kind of like I wish that was there, but I know that Johannes was like, we got to focus on Chris and Claire. But RE2 fans are going to be a little disappointed when they see what they did with Leon here through and through. Even though he's my favorite, the script and how they wrote the screenplay, I have a lot of problems with. And Leon, how they wrote him is kind of my problem. But I still think he's the best. What do you think about Leon?
Leon's the best actor. Evan Yogian completely knocked what he had to do out of the park.
Right.
Do not confuse that with he was a good Leon. This Leon was trash. Fucking disgraceful. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The comedy was great because Evan Yogia made it great.
Like I said, his timing was
his timing was great.
He got it. And his chemistry wasn't that bad.
No, and remember, you might even remember in the preview I said any other actor. I even said this in the preview, and you guys who are listening to this can go back and say I called it. No matter who he's on screen with, he was going to do good because he worked on Victorious.
Yeah.
And he worked in a group setting, and he knows how to do and play off of people. The other actors might not have that, right? Obviously, you have fucking Freddie Jones or whatever, Fred Jones from Robbie Arnell or whatever his name was Fred,
right?
And the Scooby-Doo. Like some people have that stuff, but like he grew up acting in group settings. My man was good. This wasn't it. I actually think the comedy was great because he made it great. I think if you look at the comedy, though, it was very disrespectful to Leon's character. I'm not going to say what exactly yet because there's some spoilers in there, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I definitely don't think that they treated Leon with respect in this movie. And anybody who is a Leon fan is going to be... I would be honestly... Everybody's different. I would be very surprised if any Leon fan liked this movie. Or was happy at least with what Leon was doing. It was very pitiful. Like, it was very disgraceful in my opinion. Like, there might only be one more character that comes even close. Is how bad they were treated. And of course it's who we'll talk about next, which is your favorite character. Because our favorite characters got dunked on, dude, in this movie.
I think that's...
And Leon is Avon. So to wrap it up, Evan Yogia, great actor. He did a great job for the script he was given.
Not
the
Leon
actual
S. Kennedy.
script was not Leon S. Kennedy. He did not look the part. He was in cosplay, just like we feared.
Yep.
But he acted the role that he was given the best of anybody in this movie.
With the screenplay he was given, he was like, all right, I got to say these jokes to have comedic timing. That's what he was given.
And every good actor has a bad movie. It doesn't mean that he's bad, right? It doesn't mean that he's bad.
Yeah.
He was great for what he needed to do. Some people will like his acting. He did the job really well. The script writer has no love, no respect for Leon at all.
No.
And even his rookie self in every portrayal he's ever been in, I'm sorry, not nerdy, not geeky. Also, this Leon really wasn't either of those either. It's just he's not this incompetent. He's never portrayed as this, for lack of a better word, stupid. It was very offensive to me as a Leon fan. I really wanted to get up and leave. I did. Like after the
flaming scene. That's
the flaming scene. After the flaming scene, I really was. I actually think I said out loud in the theater, "What the fuck is going on?" I just really think what they did with Leon was really disrespectful. And just under Leon, moving on to the next character, we got to talk about Jill. Like, bro, I just don't understand it. Like you said in the beginning, like some of the questions is just like, why did they do what they did? This Jill is so unlikable. I just don't like it.
Yeah, she's
I don't even think the actor did a great job. Like I just don't, and I don't know if it's the actor or actress, however you want to call them. I don't know if it's that she did a bad job or if that she was even not really sure what she was doing with the script.
Yeah, I feel like she just kind of phoned it in. and like just didn't really. And I didn't like how they wrote her. And
You just made the point. She felt like the Monster Hunter guy, dude, Ron Perlman. She felt like that when she was acting, didn't she?
Yeah,
it was very close to that.
Ron Perlman's at least better in his history of what he's done.
Yes.
I think that this is really, offensive to Jill fans. I think that should be just how Leon fans should be offended with how they handled, him. I think the same thing with this. It's just like, for me with Jill, it's just like, she's just there to just kind of run along with like Wesker because they have like a romantic kind of involvement that's hinted at, and which, again, that's something that like was leaked and people talked about, right? It wasn't even leaked. It was just like out there, but wasn't a fan of that. Mm-hmm. And it's not actually like, that's not even a spoiler. There's no actual romance or anything. It's just like hinted that like, she would like to get with this guy, but I just felt like, she didn't look like Jill. She didn't act like Jill. And you could have at least acted like Jill, and you didn't act like Jill. And if you don't look like Jill, you should at least act like Jill. And both were X'd out.
The only character who looked like their character and acted like their character was Chris.
Yeah.
And even Chris was kind of like...
Even Chris was not really in the film as much as I would have liked.
Or would have thought. And you said it the best. It was a Claire and Chris movie by design... from the interviews and everything, which
how
we
they
both
set it up.
Don't agree that that's what they did, but you would think Chris was in the movie more. And I think the only thing I have to add about the Jill thing, and I want to know your opinion on this too. This is a question I specifically wanted to ask you after we got out of the theater, but I think I just got to know, dude, in one word, what would you describe her acting as, her character? Because the only word that comes to my mind, or the only phrase, is she really was just a paper bag. Like, you could have removed her from this movie and nothing would have been different.
I would say...
Really nothing, man.
Yeah, I would say she was just like asleep at the wheel. That's probably
that's
the
a
best
good
way.
That's a good way to put it.
Just kind of like, just not really in control of like, she didn't really like put the stamp of like, I'm Jill Valentine. This is Jill. And just from the vignettes, which, I did breakdowns for and everything, everyone's seen them if you're a fan, those already made me kind of like, all right, well, this already isn't convincing me with how they're trying to say, oh, she's this and she's that, and I'm this and I'm that, and Wesker says I'm this and I'm that. And it just like was so unconvincing. And I think that's kind of like the way I felt with a lot of these characters that are our characters from the game, that we have a relationship with pre-existing, where other people watching this won't have those feelings because they don't have previous connections to them. So that's a big thing that we'll talk about when we're done the characters. But I just, for her, like, completely asleep at the wheel and not a fan of anything at all. And she still, just like Leon, in my opinion, had -0 to do. Like, literally nothing, but just to, like,
Leon.
Look surprised. Start crying. Talk to Chris for like 5 seconds. Barely acknowledge him in the whole movie because she's just, trying to get Wesker's dick the whole time. I don't care. That's what she did.
That's what she was doing. They wrote her to be a dick-hungry girl.
And that's all she did. And that's not, like, I could tell you that without even saying spoilers. It's boring. It's uninteresting. And at least Leon had the humor, and I laughed.
Yeah.
Jill, on the other hand, when she was like, pulling the gun out, doing this and that, we saw that in the clip already. I wasn't like, oh, Jill, she's so crazy. Oh, she shot the crow in front of Wesker's face. She's so crazy. Look at her pull out her gun. It's like, no, not like Jill.
No.
Doesn't really. Yeah. So that's, I don't want to ramble on Jill, but her being my favorite character, I get passionate about it, and they dropped the ball. So
would you say she was the worst actor?
No.
Okay.
But we'll get to that because I think that's what's next.
He's next. But I definitely think Jill was the second worst.
I would say so, yeah. I would probably say, because I know what we were thinking.
Yeah.
And I would say she would probably be either second. Yeah, I would say probably second.
Second worst actor.
Second worst out of the OG Raccoon squad. So
out of the main characters, she was the second worst.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, even fucking Richard had more like
Shaggy himself.
Yeah, Shaggy himself
With the shotgun, he did pretty good actually for when he was on screen.
So, but it's just that was a dead end.
Yeah, second worst, but the worst actor in the movie. I think it's your turn to spearhead this one.
Yeah, definitely Albert Wesker.
Yeah,
wasn't a fan leading up to this. Wasn't a fan with how they wrote him. Wasn't a fan with how he played him.
Which I will just say before anybody crucifies us,
I don't give a shit. The nails are already in.
A lot of this has to do with the way that Wesker was written, and I don't want to say I do think or don't think that he couldn't be a good Wesker, but obviously we're talking mostly about did the actor play Wesker well? What do you think? That's kind of I don't want people to think we're just shitting on the actual person. Because in this case, I don't really think we didn't see enough to really fucking shit on him, dude.
I don't think he played Wesker well, just because he didn't, even if he wasn't trying to carry himself as a villain like he said in the vignette, I still don't think that he was just convincing. Like, I just thought he just sounded like bored and just kind of like going through the lines, and it was just like, yeah, he like somewhat, I guess, looked like Wesker, but again, looks or whatever. I clearly looks don't matter because they didn't give a shit to make certain characters look like our characters, and they most certainly didn't really cast them in a sense where they're like, you're perfect for this person.
Yeah.
You are this person.
You look like this person.
Like, and you can't even bring it to the source material. Because even with what was written, I feel like he could have carried himself in a different way. But they try to just play him too much of like a normal guy, and not so much as like a guy with like he has intentions. Like in the first game, that's not really a spoiler because everyone knows what happens to Wesker. They still take certain things in that route, but it's done completely different.
Way different,
and
actually.
It's also just like, and I think that affected it. So yeah, I think it's more so the script, but I also think that like he could have really took the approach of like playing him differently, but they wanted to play him. They wanted him to play Wesker as just like a normal dude that just isn't like about, he's not just about himself. Sure, that it gets to that point, but it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know, it just didn't really do anything for me, and that's why I think he's like the worst in this batch of fuck.
Yeah.
So
I think it's really close between him and Jill. Like I
honestly
agree.
To be honest, I really don't know.
I would go back and forth in my head.
We've only seen it once at this time of the recording.
It's really close, but I will say this. If I had to summarize Wesker's performance in this movie, he's that lazy jock character that like he's like the cool guy, but he's also kind of like he's freaked out about everything guy. Like he's got like the lazy expressions, like the just like the weird, like I don't know how to it's just like a lazy jock vibe. He's just not Wesker. He's boring.
Yeah.
He's just like he's like that guy in the movie in a movie where he's just there to be like a foil, maybe to Jill's. Like I don't even see, like, Jill wants him. Why? There's nothing likable about him at all.
Yeah.
Like, what is the likable thing about him? Like, there was more chemistry on screen. This is gonna blow my fucking mind and everybody's mind here. There was more chemistry on screen between Leon and Jill than there ever was in this movie with Jill and Wesker. That little restaurant scene, there was more chemistry in her introducing herself to him than there was at all with Wesker in the whole film. Like, Wesker was bad.
Yeah.
And Jill was bad. And Leon was bad for a different reason, but Wesker and Jill are definitely bottom two.
They all have their recipes for what makes them bad in certain ways, and I think the script handles it really bad. And Yeah, it just and that's our boy, right? That's supposed to be like our Resident Evil quintessential villain.
That's
is
Resident
around.
Evil Sephiroth.
Yeah,
basically,
and
and they dropped the ball.
And it's just it just wasn't a good first impression for this new Wesker. No. We had two different Weskers last time. So
I can't believe they still did that. The two different Weskers.
Yep. We had the one in Extinction that stood at a table, and then we had the other one that they had who looked like he got fucking hair gel stuck in his fucking head and looks plastic.
Spray painted it.
Looks like a Ken doll. But no, it's just that was just a real bum out because I was like, man, Wesker, man, they're gonna do him from like you're thinking, okay, they're gonna do him right from the start. Like all these characters, you think they're gonna do him right from the first entry point. But let's move on.
Yeah, I guess the last most important person to talk about. Why don't you just tell me your little rundown of Chris?
Chris Redfield, I would say, he is. I did like him in this. He looks like Chris at least for one. But
he gets that box checked.
Yeah, he gets that checked at least. But I wish that I think he did a good job, and I think one of my favorite scenes was him shooting around in the dark. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was well done. It had a cool flash effect, strobe light effect-ish. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some people might just be like, it's whatever. But I thought that was
it's
cool.
funny that you said that because when that was happening, I don't know if I said it, who I said it to, who was near me. But I remember going, coming to a theater near you. I literally said, coming to a theater near you where you only see every other frame of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was cool, but it was dragged out too long. And I think it was to disguise the fact that they didn't want to make a whole bunch of new sets.
No,
in my opinion, I don't know. I don't think it was bad though. I just think it felt like it was too long.
Yeah, I mean, for someone like Chris that didn't get as much time as I would have liked, I thought it was fine.
Like that was his badass moment where he was supposed to fuck everybody up like Vendetta.
Yeah.
And I just felt a little bit like it was taking away from his badassery to just hide it all.
Well, they just wanted to make it scary.
Yeah,
it didn't
I
work.
know.
But that's what Johannes wanted.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like, oh, let's make it a blackout scene. And then they brought out, as we saw in the trailer, he brings out his lighter, which I thought was cool.
And
he
kept going.
Yeah, like that was a cool thing.
Do you think that was also too much? Like it went out too much?
Yeah, it was a predictable jump scare that we knew was happening. So it was like, oh yeah, guess what? When he turns, there's going to be the zombie up close, and then it's going to be the other zombie. It's like you kind of saw that coming. Also, it was spoiled in the fucking trailers.
Yeah,
but that's 2021. Any movie that ever exists ever.
And they put vignettes out too, so it's like really.
And our job is to literally cover this stuff. So it's like we're gonna see shit ahead of time, no matter what. Unfortunately, it's the name of the game. But I just saw Chris was. I thought he was just okay. But I still think that it has to do with the script, which is why, which is a common thing in this portion of the review where we talk about the characters and the plot, is just like, man, I just think that with this film, how it juggles 1 and 2 and mixes them together, it's just way too misproportioned and happens way too fast. And before I can't even catch my breath until the next scene comes on and we're already on to something else. Like, again, I understand it has to like be a movie and it can't have, everything happen like in the games where it's slower paced. But at the same time, man, I just thought that this was what I predicted in my head, was that it was going to be way too much, biting off way more than it can chew.
Which we both said that.
Yeah.
It's definitely the elephant in the room, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know about you, and you might agree with this. Also, before we move on, before I say that, I'll just say my Chris.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
It's very simple. Very simple. Very flat. Very boring. The actor looked like Chris. The actor played Chris, I think, decently.
I think he was decent.
If he was given more, he would have been like Leon level.
Right.
But he wasn't really given a lot. So
and if they were comedy,
saying, if they were telling me that Chris was going to play in the next movie as Chris with a different director, and they were going to do just the first movie, I'd be confident in letting Robbie play it.
I agree.
I would let him play it.
I agree.
I would be like, yeah, he's a good Chris. He's fine. I just felt like a lot of his thunder was stolen. And I'm not going to say I was really interested in the movie, honestly. I thought the movie was really boring for the most part, and because I was bewildered by what I was seeing. But every single time the movie got to just about the part with Claire and Chris, or Claire and Leon, or Leon and Jill, or Leon and Claire, or Chris and Jill, or Wesker and Jill, whoever, every group that they cut between, every time it was about to get to where I was interested, it would cut to a timestamp and switch characters. And it pissed me the fuck off.
Dude, that's like, you really hit a nail on the head.
Like,
with
I
that.
could not get over that. I was like,
I was thinking about that on the
bro.
drive home.
Yeah, every time.
And it hit me on the drive home. I was like, dude, like, it was almost like you have, and then, like we said before, you have all these recipes, but then you cut it short, and then you're done, and it's like, you guys almost had a great moment if you would have kept going. But like I was saying, the jumping back and forth is what contributes to that time management problem, is that they don't give enough time for these scenes to fully like perfect themselves. And then because they're like, oh, well, we got to tell the mansion, and then we got to jump over here to the RPD, and then and like we predicted, it was they bit off way more than they can chew. And it shows the whole show, because like what John said, these characters don't really get their justice, and the dynamic between two characters in one scene kind of gets fucked when you just cut away, because it's literally just like, you know, we forgot to mention this takes place on September 30th. So September 30th is when everything takes place, starting at 11 p.m. and then you go through the whole fucking night with a bunch of times thrown at you throughout. And it's like, this is happening, then that's happening, then this is happening, then that's happening. And like I said, I can't catch my breath. I feel
there was
like
no revelations.
No.
There was no lab, right? I mean, there was a lab, but there's really no lab.
It was just
there
kind
was
of there.
There was no nothing.
No caves.
No caves.
No.
Well, yeah, no caves. There was no cave. There's just no nothing.
There was a tunnel, but there wasn't.
There was a tunnel.
cave,
Yeah, that's why I said well. I wasn't really sure we should talk about that yet.
Yeah.
But
And then even then, they're like, he's at the beginning of it, and then bam, they don't even show his like.
But that was the thing. That's what I mean by the timestamp ruined everything. And what I mean by that is that it would jump from one scene to another. There was times where it would jump, like it was Chris and Richard, and then it jumped to Leon and Claire. Mm-hmm. Or was it Jill and Wesker? I forget. It was one of those two.
It was
Jill and Wesker.
Yeah, Jill and Wesker
then
split up, and they split up.
Yes. Yeah. So it went from from Chris and Robbie, Chris and Richard, to Leon or Jill and Wesker. What happened to Jill and Wesker? Then it jumped to Leon and Claire. By the time it jumped back to Chris, I fucking forgot he was in the movie, dude. Like, it was like, it took so long because what I really think happened and how I felt watching this, I don't know if anybody agrees with this, but how I felt was every time something came up and you were like, whoa, wait, what are they doing? They would switch to somebody else so you wouldn't think about it.
Yeah, and then when it comes back, they're repositioned somewhere else. Like, so you're like, well, what? Like, are you really trying to fill in the gaps, or are you trying to confuse me? Because you keep bouncing back and forth, and the time jumps, dude.
The time jumps were crazy, dude. And it almost felt like Resident Evil 2 Remake, where when you play the B scenario, you just end up in the police station.
And it's like...
It was like, that was the kind of cut. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm going to get to go through the B scenario, even though that's a little tiny part. I understand. It's like, oh, you guys are fucking crying. Fuck you. All right? Like, no. It's a little part through the city, but it is impactful because it shows the character's journey to the police station. But in Remake, they just open the gate and close it, and they're like, all right, I'm here. That's what it felt like. That whole missing section. And they did this in 3 Remake with some places. They did this in 2 Remake, less than 3, but they did these in a couple places. The Clock Tower, for instance, there's a whole story that's just cut in the Remake, and this movie felt like that. It felt like none of the plot lines were being fully fleshed out. They were begun and ended. There was no middle.
No.
There was no middle for anything. There's so many spoilers I want to talk about. So I'm done with that. Like, I'm done with the characters. I think that we covered everything really well.
Now we're more so just talking about like the script and the
script
screenplay.
itself,
and it's just, it seems just like a jumbled, rushed mess, and it didn't really give our. Not only did it write the characters in a way where they couldn't be given the right material to act it out and play the part, but then it's also like the story's a mess. If you are a casual fan
Oh, no.
You are not going to like this movie.
No.
You're not going to know what's going on. It does not explain anything to you. It solely relies on previous research and experience to know what everything's going on. Because if you're not, you're going to be like Callie. She's going to be like, what's this? What's that?
Yeah, Callie was literally
happening?
asking you questions the whole movie.
She was asking me questions the whole time, and it's fine because she knows Resident Evil. She watches us play.
Dustin
She knows the lore.
knows Resident Evil. Maybe more than me and you both. And he was asking me questions during the movie.
Yeah, because it does things
He was like, what is happening?
And there was so many times where I told Callie they just did that because they wanted to.
That's what
Why
I
did
said.
they do this with Lisa Trevor? Because they wanted to.
Because they
Why
wanted
did they
to.
do this with this? Because they just felt like
They
it.
just felt like
it's
it.
the only reason. There wasn't really any like thing to back themselves up to be like, well, I did this for this. Johannes was like, well, this is just going to be my vision. Fuck it. But you can't really...
Yeah.
Everything should be your vision when it's your movie, but at the same time, when you're going off past material or past characters, there has to be a level of respect that you bring to the table when you're approaching Resident Evil. That's a 25-year franchise and game and movie
This is what
phenomenon.
I preach, man. This is what I preached with Village. You can't disrespect your past. There's no reason for it. Nobody likes that shit. Nothing. No franchise can get away with disrespecting their past. Not Pokemon.
Right.
Not Resident Evil. Not Scream.
Yeah, any
Not
movie
Halloween.
franchise, yeah, exactly.
Nothing can get rid of their past. You have to embrace it, even if you reboot. Freddy, the fucking terrible reboot that you hate, right?
Yeah.
You can't disrespect your past. It just doesn't work like that.
And even something like the newer horror films that like they acknowledge the first one, and ignore everything else, they still acknowledge the first one and know the foundation that it was built off of. With this, they're like, okay, foundation. Let's kind of blend something together and then also have like a million different plot points happening all in an hour and 40 minutes, jumping from time. How do you expect people to not have a fucking headache by the time they walk out of this
What
thing?
you said, if you're a casual fan, you won't like this movie. If you don't know anything about Resident Evil, you're going to fucking hate
Don't
this
even
movie.
watch.
Don't even watch it.
I would say just like. If
I mean,
you really,
if you're watching us, you probably like Resident Evil.
I was gonna say if you're watching us, then you're probably in that.
But if your
category.
friends ask you, like, should I go see it? Like, I would just tell them no. Like, don't. It's not worth it, man.
even if just for like a B movie fun film,
I don't even think.
I don't even think it's really that fun. To be honest with you, I just thought that it was more just like
This film leans more on you being a fan.
heavy.
But
I know it's going to divide fans.
It's going to
too,
divide fans
because everything does in this community.
Really don't. You know what's crazy? I really don't think it's going to be as divided as we thought originally.
I don't think so.
Because
considering
after
I feel
watching
pretty
this movie,
confident that most fans should know that this
and
is
I
a
think
steaming pile of shit.
This is probably going to be a little controversial. And comment section, you do what you do best. I will ban you if I have to. Do what you do best.
Yeah,
but I'm going to say,
John, one of us will.
But I'm going to say this right now. A lot of people who have been shitting on us are probably going to apologize in the comment section after they see this movie. Like, they're going to be like, dude, you know what? You're right. It was fucking bad. I really do genuinely believe people are going to have a change of heart because they did what we learned our lesson with Village. Even though they didn't want to, they got their hopes up because it looked promising. And we'll talk after spoilers. I'm going to even say this movie was savable. And I already got some ideas of how it could have been savable, how they could have fixed this fucking movie, right? You know I'm a fan of longer movies, so you already know I'm going to say it needed to be longer. And you're more of a movie man, so you understand why it's not longer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I definitely think this needed to be 2:15, 2.5 to work the way they wanted it to.
Absolutely. I agree.
I just think that this movie, it really is, I'm not here to slay families. I really do think this movie was just, Roberts, it sucked. Like, it just wasn't good. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it leaned on fans infuriates me because usually, like Paul Anderson, you can't get away from Paul Anderson.
No.
It's the movies
His
before
name
this.
is literally in the credits.
In the credits,
He's
yeah.
still in there.
You can't get away from him, right? Paul Anderson.
Not that he had influence, but he's
no,
still
I mean,
around.
I'm sure they showed him early, right?
Yeah.
Paul Anderson, okay? Anthony, you can switch to my face for this one.
Yeah.
Paul Anderson leans casual with fan Easter eggs. It makes sense why his movies were further away from the cuff, right? Roberts leaned fan with casuals on the cuff, right? Like on the secondary approach.
Right.
That's what makes this worse, in my opinion. Like, I'm going first to first movie, right? Just Resident Evil. No Apocalypse, no Extinction, nothing else. Just Resident Evil. 2002 versus this movie. What makes this movie so much worse, feeling bad-wise, is the fact that he was like, fans, you're going to love this. And then... And then...
That's what he said.
He took it. He said, fans, you're going to love this.
He literally said that in the interview.
It was like he had 100-piece puzzle of perfection. And every piece fit every piece. You know what I'm saying? Every puzzle piece was moldable to fit every puzzle piece. And he took it and he's like, the fans are going to love this. And he just mixed it. And he just was like, you guys are going to love this. I changed everything. Nobody loves that,
what
bro.
What he should have said was, you're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today,
fuck
bull.
This up.
Fucking San Andreas meme. Oh, here we go again.
Yep.
Like, that's literally, what was his name?
Carl Johnson.
Yeah. Literally. Like, it feels like it was more disrespectful, Ant, because, and I don't want to speak for both of us. I want you to add on to this, but
sure.
I just feel like it's almost worse when they try, but then you wonder, as a fan, why would you do that? Like, why would Wesker play the piano? Why would Jill pull her gun out to shoot something off Leon's head? Why would Chris not trust her sister? His sister, I mean. Why would Lisa Trevor be Lisa Trevor in this movie? Spoilers not included. Why does anything in this movie happen if you were a fucking fan of this franchise? Why?
And it goes back to the argument of
I just don't get it, man.
So many good recipes, but no outcome that actually made it prepared well. It was very like dicey. And I guess I will say for my side of it would be you're trying to satisfy too many people, and it goes back to I stand by this statement now that I've seen this. I can say it. I've earned the right to say it. You've earned the right to say what you want to say. We've earned the right as content creators to say what we want to say.
Yep, this is our channel.
They should have just made this movie based off the first game and saved the second storyline, even if they ignored 3, because 3 always gets the shit out of the stick.
They should have did 2 and 3 together, but I agree. Amen.
If they made one full... They could have done that. They could have done, hey, well, let's combine 2 and 3 in an hour.
They could have combined 0 and 1.
Yeah, do the timeline skip for 2 and 3 because we know that there is a timeline jump and it goes between days. But with this, they're like 1 and 2, same
months,
movie, ignore
actually.
3. Yeah, months.
It goes between months,
right?
And why the story works, Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, it works because it goes through. I'm getting a little heated. It works because it goes through months.
Yeah. It takes time for that stuff to sit there, and the effect that it has on the town and stars and the turning of the regime and who is in charge and everything that's going on. It builds up to that point, to the point where Raccoon City gets neutralized, as we see in Resident Evil 3. So with this, I just felt like it was just way too much back and forth. And again, I couldn't really catch my breath with what was going on, even though I knew where they were heading and us fans knew how this is going to end, essentially. I feel like it was way too fast, and it just didn't even take the time to... I agree. I feel like it should have at least been 2 hours, but even that couldn't save it because they did the whole 1 and 2 at the same time. I feel like that still was just way too much.
15
It confused the fuck out of anyone watching this.
You said hour 47, right?
Yeah.
15 more minutes would have put it at an hour, 2 hours, 2 minutes, right? With 15 more minutes, this movie could have gotten at least to a C instead of an F.
Yeah, you could have give those boss fights a couple more minutes,
or give the characters
a few more moments to shine,
bro. I can't even say this because it's a spoiler, but I want you to think in your head, how many on-screen kills were there? Don't answer. Don't react. Just think to yourself, right? No, bro. It's just not. It's not okay.
Every fight scene was literally 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, and it was over. And that's not even. That's just facts, okay, guys. I'm not saying what happens in those scenes. I'm not saying who gets hurt.
No.
It's very quick. And again, going back to John's point, as soon as you see something good and you're like, oh man, it's over. It's over. It's cut short. It falls flat on its ass.
Mm-hmm.
And that is essentially what this movie does. It just falls flat on its ass. And I'm sorry, it's just not good.
No,
it's not a good movie. And
it's not even a good B movie. It's really not.
I can show John
it could
10
be
better B movies.
You could. It could be. I joked and said the CGI in this movie looked like a sci-fi 3 a.m. Spines special.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go as far as to say Spines was a better movie. But Spines at least made more sense. And most of it, I think, fucking took place in a convenience store. It's like like literally a 1-for-1, almost like Raccoon City's in RE2 remake, the first little gas station, the Taxico, I think it's called, or Taxigo or whatever it is. That little place was like there. So what I'm going to challenge you, Anthony, I have some questions for you before we move on to spoilers.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to give me your honest answer. Okay, it's like a rapid fire kind of wrap up the spoiler free section.
Right.
No spoilers, obviously. You could say character names too. Best actor / actress.
Yvonne Yogia.
Okay. Worst actor / actress.
Tom Hopper.
Tom Hopper. Okay. Best set location.
RPD.
Which section in particular did you like the most?
I liked The Office, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Which was its own unique thing.
I think that lobby, that looked awesome. I mean, just the fact that like that they made that, like if I was standing in that, I would have been like, oh shit. Even though the movie would have been bad, I would have been like, holy shit. If there's one thing they cared about, it was the set designs.
Yes.
So yes, I would say front lobby or the front of the RPD.
Do you think the first half or second half was stronger?
First half.
I agree. I agree.
Half.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thumbs up or thumbs down for CGI?
It's funny because there's some stuff that I think still look better in Anderson's films, like the dog.
Oh, well, yeah, the sugar glass doggies.
The dog was definitely better, even just in the first movie. Take the first movie with the kennel and take that scene. You look at those dogs, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Those dogs looked a lot. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That shit was shot in 2001, came out in 2002. Still looked better than the dog here. The dog looked better when its eyes were just fucked up in the truck.
Yeah.
You know?
Because that was the real doggo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could tell they're like, oh, okay. If they kept with the real doggo like they did in Anderson's film, that would have been the move. I'm kind of leaning more in the negative side just because I feel like they should have done better with what the technology we have nowadays, because I've seen better in like cheaper horror films, because people want to say the budget and all this stuff or whatever, this looks cheap, that looks cheap, it looks like a student film. We've heard it all with this one, but I would say the CGI I'm kind of leaning down, but kind of more middle down, because it's like, because
some things did look pretty good,
and
then some things looked really
like
bad.
The Liquor looked good.
Yeah, the Liquor looked good. I don't think The Liquor was CG. It might have been CG, prosthetic with CG on top of it.
Yeah, they definitely did something there.
Because that did not look like the dog and look like Birkin.
No.
It looked different.
No. Yeah.
But either way.
Yeah.
Either way. It almost maybe looked like an animatronic in some ways. Mm-hmm. Like almost like a pumpkin head. Not a pumpkin head, but like they did with Resident Evil.
It was a suit.
Yeah, it was a suit. It was a stilt suit.
Yeah.
I was thinking of in one of the Resident Evil behind the scenes, they use an animatronic for some of it.
Yes.
Remember The Liquor?
Yeah.
I think.
The big one. Remember the big one at the end? We saw the behind the scenes where they were controlling
he was CG
it with
and
like
the controller.
Yeah, which is cool. Like again, the mixture. Sometimes the mixture.
The
works
2002
better.
Movie looked better.
Yeah, sometimes the mixture of practical and CG, even if you lean on the CG a little bit, it works when you're still mixing practical. But if you turn that fucker up to 11 and do all CG, that's when you lose some of that charm.
It looks unrealistic next to realism.
Right, so I'd say down.
Okay, so here's the rapid fire round. You ready? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Look at the camera. All right, rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Ready? Chris. Claire. Leon. Jill. Wesker. Birkin. Annette. Sherry. Cerberus dog.
Down.
Liquor. Birkin's transformations.
I'll give that a thumbs up
Okay.
still.
Okay. Richard.
Richard, yeah.
The other S.T.A.R.S members.
It didn't do too much for me.
The zombies.
I'll give the zombies a pass. Even though I didn't like certain things that they did, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Wesker, if I didn't say him already.
Wesker, you did, but yeah.
Okay, Wesker. Chief Irons. Ben Bertolucci. Ada.
The Ada and Retribution was better.
Yes, I agree.
If you thought that those words would ever come out of our fucking mouth,
Yeah,
guess
Retribution.
what?
At
Guess
least
what?
we didn't say afterlife.
She sits there in fucking Tokyo. She's like,
Yeah.
that Ada is better than fucking whatever the fuck this trench coat wearing fuck was wearing.
This Ada, bro. This Ada was bad.
And we'll talk more about that at the end of the spoilers, because that is the last thing we're talking about.
Bad.
How does
I'm trying to
Anderson make Ada look better than
the truck driver?
Truck driver was good.
I thought he did really good.
That's
too.
pretty fucking accurate.
Yeah. Set design. Brad Vickers. Vickers.
Yeah, I mean he's honestly like he's there as long as you think he would be there.
Yeah, he's there less than Resident Evil 3.
Way less.
Thumbs up or thumbs down for the non-zombie, non-main characters, like the waitress. Okay.
I thought they were decent. I thought they were a good. I thought that was a good showcase of showing how people are acting in this town where, well, it might be their hometown. You get a little insight to them, kind of like being there and still kicking, One thing that I did like about the movie, I guess another positive I kind of pull out of the ether of shit, was like, I like the scenes where they're just sitting around bullshitting, talking. Whether it's the restaurant,
and we're gonna get more
the,
into
the
that
stars.
because there's a couple things I want to say too that it could lean in the spoiler territory about that.
Yeah,
especially about like why I think characters were cut and stuff like that.
So like I think that was a good still was a good positive thing. I think I
Yeah.
could say that, but even then it was like after that it kind of led to like different things that just didn't really do it for me. So
Gotcha. And I guess the last three questions I have for you is cinematography.
Cinematography. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I thought it was
soundtrack.
Not really memorable.
No, it was bad.
So yeah,
I agree.
I'd have to pop in the score and listen to it. Maybe I'll do that when editing tonight. I just want to like actually listen to the individual tracks because there wasn't really anything that was stand out.
No. And then overall, plot. Okay. Now you heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's Anthony's scores. I literally don't disagree with a single one he gave, so I don't have to do mine. That's that. I literally feel the same way.
Yeah, and
so that's for spoiler free. That was the kind of the wrap up for that.
That's kind of the wrap up for that, and like I hope that obviously like when you
please
come and watch it, or
we
want to
know what you think.
We want to know what you think. If
you liked it, I expect a book.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know. I really do.
It's a community. Everyone's gonna have different opinions.
Yeah,
that's okay.
And if you liked it, we're not gonna give you a hard time.
No,
it's if you're toxic, we will.
Right, but
if you liked it, I really genuinely want to know why.
Yeah, and the thing is too, guys, is that like we knew that this was gonna be a very like a divide, not complete. I don't think it's gonna be so much 50-50, but I think it's gonna be. There is going to be arguments as to why people think it's good or better than the Anderson films.
Resident Evil 2002, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction were all better films.
Yeah, I agree.
They were all better films.
I agree. Now, I haven't seen this a second time.
Neither have I.
I haven't had time to like constantly watch it. Like I've seen those three films over and over again through the years on different formats and in the theater and so on.
And as much as we meme on them and as much as we know them because we suffer through them.
Yeah.
At my initial take, when I walked out of the theater, what I remember feeling every single time I went to those Paul movies, I was not as bewildered as I was right now until we got to 3D Afterlife.
Right, and some people would say that's blasphemy, John.
Yeah,
or
no,
Anthony,
I'm
how
serious.
can you say that? Because
it wasn't until, was it Retribution? Is the fourth one?
Afterlife is
Afterlife's the fourth one. It wasn't until Afterlife where they started bringing in characters to just disrespect them.
Yeah.
Extinction had Claire, but she's okay. She wasn't Claire Redfield as we knew her. There was Jill.
There was
Carlos.
Like,
there was the Tyrant. There was some stuff that wasn't great. There was the Nemesis, which was amazing.
In Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, yeah. Those first 3 movies did have some of it, and it was kind of shitty. And I'm not saying that they're great.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we're not saying they're masterpieces.
They're all C's and B's in my books. At the best, Apocalypse is a B, and Extinction's a B. But this movie, I mean, this movie is like a D, man. And like all the other Paul movies, the last 3 are all Fs.
I think a D is like a good placement for this.
For a tier list. I would put this at like a D.
And it's funny because I just looked it up. So Apocalypse has a 19% overall. And after all these years.
On Rotten Tomato?
I wonder how this is going to play. Because they held off on reviews. Notice they held off on percentages and reviews and up until tonight. So I wonder, because tomorrow the floodgates are going to open with all these reviews coming out, us being included.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see the fan response and like John said, obviously, like, let us know, but at the same time, like, let's get into these.
There's different points. There's 2. I want to be very clear. There's different points as far as setting, location, what they were going for, the set designs, like all that stuff. This movie obviously did take some pretty good positives.
With something like this, if they say, oh, well, let's try to listen to the fans, how well does that actually work? At the end of the day, they're going to have some kind of asshole, some studio guy, some suit, give their input, and that's what they go with. And I think that's what we got here, where it's like, okay, we don't have an Alice, but let's have a shitty plot that shits all over everything else.
MK 2021, right? Versus MK95. Why does MK95 work and MK21 doesn't?
That's funny because MK95 was Paul Anderson.
Because it's Paul Anderson.
It goes back. It's funny.
It goes back to Paul, right?
It goes back to him.
But why does Paul Anderson make 95 work so well?
He fucking had a tournament.
He had a tournament. He respected the characters.
Right.
There was no new characters. They did all the characters that they needed to do. I mean, there was new characters. Obviously, there was like NPCs.
Yeah.
But there was all the main characters were there, right? This movie, which we're going to get into spoilers soon, I know. But I just really feel like this movie was pointless. It was soulless. What was the overarching plot of this movie, Ant? Ask yourself that while we go into spoilers. What was the overall... If at least when I watch MK 2021, I know the overarching plot is the Scorpion bloodline. And Shang Tsung's quest for thirsty domination.
And just from that opening scene, you can tell that, okay, this is where they're going with this. This is going to circle back around
the baby.
To this at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know the plot line, right? I know what's going on. Resident Evil 7. I know what's happening. Ethan is going to save his wife, who has apparently gone missing for years. And, he's going to save his wife.
Yeah.
I understand the beginning. I understand the end.
Basic house
what
game.
The fuck is going on in this movie? What is the beginning and end point? That's why it's so awkward, man. The whole time it's so awkward because there's nothing to build on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the foundation is already crumbling
There's
before they
nothing
can even get
there.
it started. Yeah. And especially with us knowing as much knowledge as we know, and they still manage to make it like, what the fuck was that?
Confusing.
That's how you know. They just made it too much of an ambitious project, I get, clearly.
Yeah.
Because this was way too much than Johannes could actually, like, pull off. Or at least get, like, 2 directors. I know movies do that sometimes, but they get 2 directors in there, like that new horror film that's coming out. It's, I forget what it's called. What is it, The Black Phone? Or
I'm looking forward to that movie.
That looks good. It really just was like too big of an ambitious project for this guy to handle. Like, this guy was not the guy for the job for writing it, and I don't think he was the job to direct these characters and to be in charge of casting these motherfuckers, because that, I think, hurt the film.
Of the 3 things you said he was not the man for, I definitely think writing it was the biggest flaw. These characters, for all, for what it's worth, even though they don't look like the characters completely, and they're not the characters that I would have, they're not the people I would have picked.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done it if he gave them a better script.
Yeah.
They could have at least passed. Maybe not Wesker. He was fucking. I'm sorry, Wesker. What was his name? Tom
Hopper. Yeah,
Tom Hopper. If you're watching this, bro, I just want to tell you, and obviously to you, I'm nobody, right? But Tom, this was bad. Like, this is going to look back in your career, and this is going to be the stinker. So I wish you the best, man. And I wish that you go on to act on better things. But the way they had you playing Wesker, I want to believe it wasn't your acting, right? The way they had you playing Wesker, you got dicked. I'm sorry. That's all I'm going to say to him.
Yeah.
If he's watching somehow. I know some people watch us.
Yeah.
Some people do find us.
Yeah.
You know, Carlos found us.
So let's get into the spoilers, because this is where, if you haven't seen the movie yet, turn this off. Or if you are, someone who's seen it like us, keep listening. Let's just get right into the fucking nitty gritty. The orphanage. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Movie opens up with Claire and Chris as big kids.
Yes, which is cool to see. We did know that we knew this was happening. We saw the clip in the trailer 4 where Claire sees Lisa in the tent. That was already given away. Something they easily could have saved for the movie, but again, it's 2021 with trailers. So we get an idea that Birkin obviously was in charge of this orphanage, and they were together in the orphanage. Claire would go and sneak into where Chris was to sleep because she was scared of Lisa Trevor, someone that we see in the orphanage. And
scared of
her,
quote unquote.
Right, scared of.
I don't know how scared walking towards her and asking her who she is.
Yeah.
It really
is,
is,
you're
but
a kid, all that traumatizing shit that can happen. But so it tries to plan it right away that they're orphans, which we still know in the main plot, right? But like the parents were killed, so that's why they're here. And Birkin, in a sense, is kind of like, to some of these kids, the father figure, or the only person they have.
And you see that played out with Chris.
Now, how did you feel about the town and how it got everyone infected over time through water? And that's how they injected it into people, where it wasn't just like outbreak, everyone turns immediately. It was a slower burn for the people that were in the town. How did you feel about this? This is something that Ben unravels, which we expected, because he was the one giving Claire a lot of the hints in the internet chat room, which is funny they brought that up.
Yeah, what's a chat room? It's a place where you chat with people.
Yeah, on the internet.
Yeah, on the internet.
And that's funny, because that's something someone in 98 would say.
Yep.
It was very new at the time. They existed. Yahoo and all those, like, they all existed.
Yep.
But it was very early, and that's how she found Ben. And the tape pretty much explains, which you don't see fully in the trailer, but you see it to some extent. He literally explains the whole thing, that, like, this is how they're infecting people. They are leaving Raccoon City behind to move their work somewhere else, and it's going to be it's already like started, and no one knows. Like, the people that are there are already, like, they're starting to lose their hair. They're starting to bleed from the eyes, which is a main like thing they keep showing, because they show you that, oh well, this person's turning. How did you feel about that? It's clearly different than the game. It's not even like the game.
I really just think it makes no fucking sense. Like, at all. Like, anything going on doesn't make any sense at all.
Everything in the spoiler section makes no sense.
I think that, and what I said earlier that I was going to come back to in the spoiler-free section was the reason why they cut characters and the reason why the police force was so small is because there's nobody there.
There is no
Umbrella left, so it's like a ghost town, and he said he wanted to make it like a ghost town. And it kind of feels like that it is a ghost town because, like it says in the big-ass fucking subtitles, you never, ever... What do they teach you in writing and creative? What do they teach you, Ant? They teach you show, don't tell. The motherfuckers told us. They pulled an RE4, man. They just have text on the screen. They're like, blah, 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 blah. Fucking Umbrella left, and now everybody that's poor is getting fucked in the ass. What? None of that makes sense. Why did they do it? Why did they do it?
No.
Were they why? Like, why did they do it? Did they know that the water was contaminated, so they pieced out? Did they do it on purpose? These are questions we don't have answers to.
And why wouldn't, once Umbrella was done, which is like what they were in by the time the events of 2 and 3 happened in the game, why wouldn't they just nuke it anyway and not, like, why would they leave and then just leave it there? Other than the fact that Birkin was still there, he was leaving anyway by the time the sirens hit. But it's like, why did you?
And why did the sirens even hit?
Also, why?
Why did the sirens hit, Anthony?
And Chris ignored them.
Yeah, Chris was like, "Nah, it's all right. I got to get to work."
It's nothing. And it's like, okay, I understand you got night shift, but motherfucker, like, Birkin, for him, was almost like a father figure that he never had. They established that, which goes nowhere. That means nothing, because by the end of it, he's like, fuck you, bah, whatever.
Yeah.
So they changed that up a little bit.
They got his little picture with him next to him,
yeah,
in the American
you see
flag.
that in his house and stuff like that. And then also, Claire picks up the picture and she says, oh, you'll never get with her. You'll never get with
you'll
Jill.
never get with Jill.
Which, is a funny haha, because it never happens in the games. It
Yeah.
never will. Capcom doesn't care about romantic,
other than
plot
Leon
lines.
and Ada, and they only throw him a bone every once in a while.
Yeah, even that, they half bake nowadays.
Yep.
And so, there's little things that they throw in, Easter eggs that are, there, but it doesn't really matter. The Itchy Tasty scene, whatever.
The alligator, the doll.
alligator, the Neptune that they bring up.
The yawn. She said, "What? I
Great
wonder
White?
what would be the worst." Yeah, which was what the Neptunes were.
Yep.
I wonder what would be a worse way to die: getting swallowed whole by a snake, or being eaten by a great white shark.
Right.
AKA the yawn and the Neptune, neither of which are in
Everyone
there.
was like, "Oh my god, guys!
Yeah.
Oh my god, the snake is in the." It's not in the fucking movie.
I just want to be honest with you, and this is what I was kind of hinting at earlier, because
Tyrant's not in there either.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's 2 BOWs in the whole movie.
2.
Liquor, Birkin. If you count the zombies are
And
3.
all of them are short-lived.
There's 1 Liquor. There's 1 Birkin.
All of them are short-lived.
Yeah.
By the time you can enjoy
Oh.
their
There's
screen
also
presence.
Lisa Trevor, I guess.
Lisa Trevor is another useless rag in this fucking movie.
She looks like a cum rag, bro.
She's
shit.
She is there for the sake of saying that's Lisa Trevor, and all she does is show Claire how to fucking get down to the underground section.
And she tells Leon to be quiet. She's like, shh. And then she goes up there. And if you listened, she was talking the whole movie. If you really listened, she was whispering what she was trying to say. She was like, and then she would go and she'd point and she'd go, you would hear it barely.
Yeah, really.
You would hear her say, look up. And then Leon would be like, guys? And she's like, look up. And then you kind of heard her say, like, Claire. And then she said, like, friend.
Yeah.
And, you heard her sometimes.
They got
but the whole movie, she was talking really, really, really softly.
Right.
What the fuck was her point?
Yeah, because by the time she's gone,
she showed them the elevator,
and just because she considered Claire a friend, and that was the end of it. But
number one, the entire first part of the movie, while it was cool seeing Claire and Chris's childhood, where Chris doesn't even give his sister any benefit of the doubt, he just tells her she's fucking crazy, even though you just see this little fucking bitch with her mom's face walking around, and she's like, "No, you didn't see nothing. You didn't see nothing, Claire." Right? And then, fucking, I almost called it Willem Dafoe. Fucking,
oh my
god. Birkin, obviously sinister, right? That a whole first part did not feel like Resident Evil. It felt unnecessary, is what it felt like to me. And they were trying to establish the Claire-Lisa Trevor connection and the Claire-Chris connection and the Claire-Umbrella connection, none of which gets paid off unless you count Lisa Trevor killing the fucking liquor and then showing them where the elevator was. That's it. And she didn't even save Claire. She saved Leon. So it's like she didn't even step in to save Claire for the payoff. She fucking saved useless Leon.
But
this is almost as bad as useless Matt from the first fucking movie.
Oh my god.
Bro, that whole part was shit, right? Is there anything you want to say about the first part?
I would say for the first part, I just wasn't a fan of the virus explanation of how they injected it into the water. I just thought that was unnecessary. It could have just hit the town like it normally did, and spread that around through rats and stuff like that. They could have had that in there.
Or crows. They had crows run into the fucking windows.
To be honest, I just wasn't a fan of.
I forgot about the crows. I guess they're another BOW. I guess.
Barely in there. Right?
They fucking
could have had
bloodborne looking crows.
like the birds.
Yeah.
Like in Extinction. They could have had a scene like that out in front of the mansion. I think that the first part that established the origin of Umbrella and the city, that was kind of cool with the orphanage. But then, in my opinion, I just didn't like when we found this stuff out from Ben. It's also just dude, I just wasn't a fan of when we started seeing the lady, the itchy tasty lady in the house,
which was in Chris's house,
right?
And then what the fuck did the little kid come in for? What was that for?
It was just for her to say Sherry's line from RE2 Remake.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why it's there. And again, I wasn't a fan. I made up my mind. I'm not a fan of the half-human zombie thing.
No.
I'm not a fan. I don't give a fuck if Brad talked in 3 Remake.
No.
There still wasn't that like, oh, we're going to be at the gate, but then we're kind of human, but then we're not. And that's why they were running in the trailer. People are like, why are the zombies running through the gate? Because they're not fucking fully zombies. They're like, they are, but they aren't. And then they start to run.
It's a different thing.
I just didn't like that they tried to explain that in the first half of the movie. And that was my biggest, like, this already can't really be saved from... Let me give you my interpretation of how the virus works. Like, again, Ben.
No, why break something that's not broken, or why try to fix something that's not broken?
Yeah, like you could just have Ben be like, people are getting sick. It's getting spread through the city through rats. This, and this.
And none of that even paid off.
No.
Who died? Who died in the city? Nobody. Nobody got killed except for the driver of the truck who got killed by his fucking dog. Mm-hmm. Nobody got killed by any of them zombies, dude. The fuck were they there for?
Yeah, I mean,
the trucker killed himself because he crashed his truck.
Well, the only people that got fucked up by the zombies were Richard in the mansion.
Well, those were different zombies though. Those were zombies.
You're right.
Those were zombies.
They were turned because you assume that again they're all in lab coats. You can tell like this was.
They've been there a while.
Right.
Yeah.
That was fucked. So you're right there. They were fully zombies. The city zombies
were weird.
Were weirder, and that's why I think I liked. When we started to see the mansion, the first half of those zombies were like, that was better in my opinion. Like the makeup looked better, and I think that's like one point that one of us talked about in one of the breakdowns of something was like the whole like is like why do the zombies look different? Or like why are they like and now we know the ones in the cities are getting affected by just like. You know, slowly but surely, like the one waitress in the diner in the beginning.
Yep.
She's like, oh.
Well, that was what I was going to get to.
You shouldn't see a doctor. She's like, oh, it's been like this since last week. It's like,
it's
number one, no one would just sit there and be like, I'm fine with blood coming out of my eye.
It's probably nothing. Like, and I said out loud in the theater, I said, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Whoever wrote the dialogue for this movie was bad. They just did a bad job. And why did Claire get an entire intro sequence? All the way from the beginning, all the way through, all the way to the motorcycle, all the way through with Chris, just to get Leon to wake up, take a sip of beer, then be asleep at the restaurant, and we just get the entire rest of the S.T.A.R.S cast. They're all throwaway characters, bro. It's Claire's movie. Mm-hmm. And if that was supposed to be Claire's movie, then why did you even put the other characters in this movie that don't have anything to do with her?
Or you should have just waited for a second film. Wait for a second film. Give Jill and Chris their time.
Yeah.
Because those are the duo that I think of when I think of the first game. Those are the main two. And then give Claire her, overshadow Jill with the RE3 events and just make Claire give her own fucking movie in 2 and explain the orphanage then. Because at least then you could just give her straight motivation through the whole thing without the other speed bumps that are in the way. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just because they're trying to take on so much at once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think we wanted to say that before we talked about these spoilers here. But now that we're talking about the spoilers, like the stuff that we can back ourselves up now with the stuff that we saw that they specifically did wrong. And another thing that I thought they did wrong in the first like beginning, like half of it was just how they handled. I just didn't like how
Leon has a dad in the police force. Leon shoots his partner in the ass.
Leon shoots his partner in the ass. He gets made fun of about that.
He's shown to be a drunk. So obviously, yes, I know. He drank, overslept, broke up with his girlfriend. He wasn't feeling the greatest.
That's still implied.
But not his girlfriend part.
No.
It was just implied that he's a drunk now. And that's not Leon. Like, that's not him.
Right.
He's not. He doesn't shoot people in the ass.
He plays it where he plays a cop where he didn't really want to. He just kind of ended up there.
He doesn't even want to be a cop.
No.
He literally said, like, I keep asking myself that. He's like, the rookie?
Right.
Dude, I'm just as surprised as you are. Like,
yeah. Which is funny, but at the same time, like you said, it's not like Leon is sure of himself. Leon knows, again.
He might be green, but he still acts like a loyal dog. Right? You know what I mean?
And
like,
the thing is with that is, to that point, I like the fact in the game, in the OG game, like I said, as soon as he goes into town, He takes it into his own hand. He acts accordingly, and then when he saves Claire, immediately they're together. They're like,
Yes.
all right, no matter what happens, even if Sherry comes along and all this shit, we got to stay together because we're all in this now.
Which, to be
I didn't
fair,
get that level here.
in the original game and the remake, they don't do that because they always split up. But in Darkside Chronicles,
but that's
which
a
is
game being a game,
being a game, exactly, that's my point. But in the exact thing of this, Leon would not let Claire go off on her own. Leon would be together, and they kind of are. But, like, it's still not the same. It's not the same.
No, it just didn't really
Leon's
have
behind Claire for most of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's around, just standing around, saying certain things
One-liners to make people laugh.
Right. And it's fine to have a comedic relief in the film, but at the same time, that's not just what Leon is. He's also not someone that's, like, unsure of himself. Even if he's green, like John said, he still knows.
He still does what's right.
And I like the fact that, again, like, they had that dynamic of, like, he would get made fun of by the other cops, and they would bust his balls, because that's how I imagine, shout out to Detective Butler, that he would know, for example, of, like, how some people treat green people in the force or whatever, and that is cool, but you didn't really give him a great introduction from the start. I thought they were going to give Leon a more impactful introduction. All of these characters, like you said, all these characters in the first half of the film. I thought that was going to be, like, a lot more, like, they were going to, like, be like, all right, not just them at the diner, let's start.
Yeah.
And then the whole shooting the ketchup bottle of Leon, like, gag.
Yeah.
And the dart gun gag, right?
Literally.
It's like, I just thought that it was going to be more of a punctuation mark to be like, this is S.T.A.R.S, like, this is who they are. Even if you opened it up with, like, I don't even know, like, because you could, nothing happened. They didn't see anybody die yet at that point, but I don't know. Maybe even if you opened it up, like, with them already at the office hearing about, Bravo team going missing or something, just to be like, let's see who's really serious here. Let's see who's determined.
And you didn't know that Enrico and Dooley, Kevin Dooley, who's not S.T.A.R.S, by the way, you didn't even know that they were the ones in the restaurant bullying Leon.
No, because you just see him in the beginning.
Or hazing him, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
teasing him, right? Like, you didn't know that.
What does the S stand for? Stupid? I'm happy they still kept the S, like, they mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm happy they at least, stay true to that.
But then, like, how is Bravo team 2 cops?
Yeah, because I thought they were going to mention, like, Enrico. This is, like, just by, even if we didn't see them, it would have been a cheap throwaway to say, oh, we had X amount of people.
And how did they flip their car if there's no BOWs?
There's no dogs outside.
There's
man.
no dogs.
There wasn't an initial threat. There was one crow that Jill shoots in front of Wesker, and he's like, oh, getting trigger happy with the gun. Ha, 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 ha. But that's it. There isn't, like...
We should confiscate that from you. And then Chris lowers it for her.
Right. Again, like we saw in the fucking vignette, a humor break that they added again. And, yeah, I just... And again, I wasn't really... I don't know. I just think that, like, especially what they did with the mansion when they cut back to it, while I did like some of those scenes in there with the zombie killing, it just didn't do, like, I wish there was more to it, and it didn't really do too much for me, even though I liked the set.
Well, here's my question for you. What do you think about Wesker with the PDA? With his little locker thing and all that shit. Like, what do you think about that?
I think I have a problem with all of that. I think I have a problem with all of that. I think I have a problem with the fact that, Wesker isn't a villain through this whole thing, and they tried to build it up. I think that's the big thing, is them trying to build him into a villain where he didn't have villain intentions the full time. They kind of just made it more like he is. We're building up to that and stuff like that. But like he was just doing that for money. He was offered a certain amount of money. He doesn't know who they are, who's offering him this lump sum of money. I didn't like that. I like when he has his own
guess what
mission.
He's Hunk. They took Hunk, they took Wesker, they put them together. How do you feel about that?
I just wasn't a fan.
I mean, neither was I.
I just wasn't a fan because, like, I just like the fact that
he's going after Birkin's research. They have a fucking history together. They were in the same research. The whole lore's thrown out the window.
Yeah, because when they see each other, it's not like he's like, Wesker.
No, they don't know
anything.
anything.
Don't take my samples. And it's like there's no, like, established history, like you said. And Yeah, I just thought that was just a real like punch in the face because I love Wesker. We're
Me
both
too.
Wesker fans.
Yeah, I love Wesker.
Who isn't a Wesker fan? If you're an RE fan, even if you just played 5, how can you not love Wesker? For casual fans, older fans, newer fans, this really didn't do it. The whole PDA thing, it was just like, again, they didn't want him to be the predictable villain that because you played the games. That's what Johannes was thinking.
Why was everything else? Why at that point that sentence? Repeat that sentence.
Johannes didn't want to repeat it just like the games. That's what he was thinking. He wanted to.
But at the same time, he wanted to shove what down our throats? It's just like the games. You guys are gonna love it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No, it's not like the games because you didn't fucking do the job right.
Because what you changed was still shitty, and
it was
if
shitty.
you're gonna change it, you should still bring something new to the table. And what's their new thing? They almost have a romantic overtone with Jill, and that is nothing. That is nothing. Because now,
don't even get me started on when Jill
guy.
shot him, and then immediately started crying over him after pulling off a scene that didn't make any sense with her. Telling Chris, Wesker betrayed us, Chris. He betrayed us.
Yeah, that whole thing was just bad.
What the fuck, bro? What did they do to Jill?
And Wesker shooting Birkin, like, you could have still had the
he
guys.
Shot Annette.
You could have. Why didn't you have a scene with the Umbrella Soldiers?
You did. They were fucking shooting at irons.
But why was that the only time we saw
Why
that?
was that a
Why
scene
was
at
that
all?
Right. For him to just go back to the police
Why
station.
was that a scene at all? That was such a waste of fucking screen time.
It actually was.
It was severely a waste of screen time.
It was just for them to slip in some Journey, because that's what was playing. Because he mentioned Journey.
Yeah, fuck him.
And so
what Dylan said it best. They should have spent less budget on getting song copyrights, licensing, and they should have just spent more money on making a fucking better movie.
Yeah.
Maybe shave Avian's fucking face. Do you ever think of that? $5 razor versus $10,000. Put your fucking song in it. I mean, I understand it's Sony, so they probably have an easier time.
Yeah,
getting some of those.
Record labels,
they probably already have
Sony
most
music,
of the. Yeah, they probably already have most of the rights. But still, the principle, right? Like,
it's just like you should have had the Umbrella Soldiers not in the midst of the. Like, I understand they were showing that to show like they're just gunning people down.
And they only had 2 of them.
They only had 2 of them, and like, why couldn't that have been the cause? Why couldn't we get a recreation?
And why did they even shoot them down? They were trying to leave?
They don't establish it because you hear muffling through the fucking car.
And he's just getting shot at. Like, we're supposed to care about irons.
And the guy's like by his window. He's like, get away from my window or whatever. And then it's like, they should have had that scene, the recreation of them going into the underground and shooting Birkin down. He injects himself and kills him.
Instead of Wesker.
Why did they make it Wesker just like pop? And I also fucking hated that Annette was just there.
She was not a researcher.
Wasn't a researcher. Why wasn't she a researcher? And Sherry said 2 fucking lines.
Maybe
man.
2. Maybe 2. I don't even know. It could have been 3. It could have been 1. I don't
care if she was just with Chris and Claire. I don't even care if they changed that. You made Sherry do nothing. She didn't even do anything to like.
She didn't even cry over her parents getting murdered.
No.
She had a gun to fucking Wesker, bro.
Yeah, that's the only thing she did in this whole movie.
And she didn't even shoot him because Jill shot him from behind. And then Wesker just died. So it was worse than the door death in fucking final chapter.
And again, staying on the subject with Birkin, and we'll get into his transformation scenes. Again, they didn't look terrible, but as soon as you see them, they're fucking gone.
Yeah.
Like the scene with Chris and him when they have that interaction, which we saw in the trailer with the cage. He rips it off, right? Grabs Chris. It's immediately done. Like there isn't like anything. And like I get they're like, all right, let's get onto it. But then when he transforms into his final form, it's just like we already saw in the trailer. Leon comes with the rocket. You guys saw this already. If you saw the trailer, you know this already. He comes with the rocket launcher, shoots him. He's fucking done. There isn't anything to it.
Whether it be the dogs attacking Irons, the liquor attacking Leon, the zombie attacking Leon, Birkin attacking Chris, Birkin attacking Chris as his second malformation of G, right? Every single scene, Claire just steals the thunder. Like, she's just there doing something. Get the fuck away from my brother. Or, bam, bam, what are you doing, Leon? Get yourself together, or you're not going to blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Or knife to the fucking face.
Right,
or
Birkin.
Or whatever. It's like they hammered Claire down our throats. if you wanted a Claire movie, you should have just made Code Veronica. Like, or you should have just waited to make a 2 movie.
Yes.
Where Claire could have been with Sherry. You could have had Leon with Ada. And a Leon, Ada, Claire, Sherry movie in this setting with this director. The way that they shot some of these scenes with the lickers and zombies and Cerberus dogs, if they didn't do CG, with Birkin in this setting.
It would have been like...
They would have been fine.
Because it wouldn't have
If
had
they
to
just
focus
would've
on
did-
6 more other characters to
Yes.
try to give time to everyone appropriately, and they failed.
Resident Evil 1 is Wesker's setup. 0 and 1 are about... 0 is about Marcus. 1 is about Wesker.
And then he takes a
2
back seat.
is about Birkin. 3 is about Raccoon City.
And then Code Veronica brings back Wesker.
Brings back Wesker and has his rival,
Yes.
Alexia.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just sucks, bro. It just sucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other like spoiler points that we can talk about that are kind of pissing me off.
Chris having a father figure in Birkin and then shooting him.
Yeah, that was not... I didn't care for that.
Sherry not crying over her parents' death.
Yeah, that was just like...
Wesker getting born like Carla in the pro.
Oh my fucking God.
When I said that, bro, outside at the theater, you were cracking up. I said, why is Wesker naked? And why did he come out of the sack like Carla?
The first time you see Wesker in sunglasses, he's naked.
We predicted that he was going to put him on at the end.
He's
too.
naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we did. You're
We
right.
did, we
They're
did.
saving that for... But that's why I knew that too. Even from watching the vignettes, we're like, we didn't want him to, put on the sunglasses and be the generic. Well, you're like, okay, yeah, because you're just going to play it up for the ending, right?
Also, I think it should be safe to say that like this is our initial impressions on a first watch.
Yeah.
We will definitely put out a full-fledged to-the-point review when we watch it again. Like a full, like what he did for the other movies, where it's just like, boom, like a digestible review, I think. Would that, like a more solidified...
This is more just us coming back from the theater and
Yes.
unpacking what we just saw.
What do you think about Ada? They couldn't even get her
worse
line.
than Naked Wesker. I would say she just like...
She couldn't even get her line right.
The biggest...
Ada Wong. Ada. My name is Ada Wong. Like, why didn't you just say Ada? Ada
Again,
Wong.
when Retribution Ada is better, there's a problem. Also, why did you have to include Ada?
And not Barry or Rebecca.
And
You're
not
like,
Barry
why?
or Rebecca.
Why Ada?
Why did you include her and make her part of Wesker's...
You didn't even give her a Leon scene.
Ada interacts with Wesker, but Ada has her own intentions. And from what I see from this post-credit scene, because it is a post-credit scene, is her just like lending a hand to Wesker and to all these other people that they're bringing back. Why is Ada going to be portrayed in this way? I like the fact that she is a spy. I like the fact that she's always on her own, even though she does stuff for other people sometimes, and we see this in RE4 and so on and so forth. She always has a motive. Same thing with RE6, right? You mentioned Carla, RE6, all that shit. The separation between those two is the fact that now you have an Ada that they're introducing that doesn't get to meet Leon, doesn't meet him in the parking garage, doesn't already have it. So by the time Ada might not even meet fucking Leon in this universe. Because
they're definitely setting up RE4 next. Because like Ada and Wesker together is RE4.
But I already know that if he does Code Veronica, because again, he's gonna fucking probably blend it. He'll probably have Code Veronica.
That's what I think.
For Nemesis will be on the island. Who fucking knows what he's gonna do at this point? Because now that he's done the first film, he's just gonna be like, all right, well now I can do what I want because now I got Ada where I want Ada. I got Wesker naked. I got all these people where I want them.
And what the fuck? Okay. Also, going back to what I said before, the question I wanted you to ask yourself while we got into this. What is the point of this movie? What's the story it's trying to tell? It's an origin story of what? Of what?
It really doesn't do a good job at doing the job it set out to do.
No.
Which is telling the origin story of Raccoon City. We wanted to go back to the roots. That's what Johannes was saying in the thing. We wanted to go back to what made Resident Evil scary. It wasn't scary. There wasn't actual suspense. This isn't so much of a horror film as it's just like a cheesy film.
No, I think the only suspense in the
I'm all
whole
for
movie
cheese,
was the first part.
But it's like bad cheese. Like there's good cheese and there's bad cheese. And this is pretty bad.
There's a good bad and there's a bad good. This was bad good. No, I wouldn't even say it's good. This was, it was not, in Cheese, I mean. In Cheesy, there's a bad good and a good bad. This was bad. That's it.
Yeah.
Bad good. It leans more bad good.
Yeah.
To where it's almost good only because it's so bad.
And I think the one thing that really, which will I guess be our like final like talking point that I can remember, like off the top of my head, is the constant time jump.
Yes.
That led to the 6 a.m. thing.
Yes.
That we talked about. It would skip events. But what the fuck was that explosion? Or like I understand.
I was gonna say
I understand it happens from underneath and it caves in on itself.
I explained it.
Why?
But why? Yeah.
Why did you have to do that? Why did you put Wesker on the fucking piano? Why did you? It's just like
why is Jill a fucking throwaway character? Why is Leon a joke?
Because seeing that.
Why did the cow get yeeted, bro?
Yeah, seeing the
Why
cow,
did the cow get
the
yeeted?
shitty cow, shitty
fucking
CGI
Dairy
cow.
Farms milk cow got yeeted, bro. Better cows in Twister.
One of the most emotional, impactful scenes in the original trilogy was literally watered down to that.
No, there's not even a missile.
And there isn't even a missile. There isn't even a reaction from the remaining survivors. They walk out of the tunnel. Text comes on the screen and tells you how many people are left. It says 0. It says all the shit was destroyed.
Dude,
and it
they
cuts
walk
to a title
they
sequence.
walk out of the thing. They don't even have any dialogue.
They
it
don't
just says,
say anything.
and it doesn't even say Resident Evil.
It doesn't even say it's up to us to take out Umbrella. They
Nothing.
could have threw something in there.
But how can they throw something in there when there's nothing built? This movie was pointless. There was no reason for any of it to happen. So you're telling me Claire and Lisa Trevor are friends from when she was in the orphanage. And what they were trying to do was build up this conspiracy theorist that Umbrella was making the town sick. That's the only thing I could think of. Umbrella left and was making the town sick. 90% of the movie has nothing to do with that. Wesker's on the fucking PDA. If they knew how to get to the fucking lab and they needed to steal Birkin's garbage, then why the fuck did they give Wesker instructions? Why did they just not go get it themselves, bro? While he was talking.
And what if he died by the helicopter?
Yeah.
He would have been fucked. That whole mission would have been like irrelevant.
Why wouldn't they just walk while Birkin was putting his girl down to sleep? And Annette didn't know what Birkin was doing. And Birkin's like, I'm playing God. Like, no, you're not. You're fucking garbage, dude. The actor was good, but you're fucking garbage.
He did a good job. I would say for what he was given.
There's no point of this movie. There's no point. It almost feels like the first Paul Anderson movie.
Oh, no.
Where she wakes up with no memories. And I felt like that was the character again, but this time they had memories.
You felt
and I
like
was
Confused Alice having
what
a
is
musical
yes.
cue moment where it's like...
But at least Confused Alice is a plot point, right?
Confused Matt is too.
Yeah, well, Clueless Matt is fucking nuts. But you just think about like, whoa, Alice doesn't know what she's at, what she's doing. But all this stuff is happening, but she has these weird powers. Like, it's intriguing at least.
You're right.
What is she doing? Why is she doing what she's doing?
Yeah, because when it's a new character,
it's
you don't
not
know
until,
where they're taking it.
Exactly. It's not until the later films where Alice gets ruined.
Yeah.
The first 3 she's pretty decent, right? Like, she's okay. I'm not going to say she's great, but she's okay. She's passable.
Because you can tell they're still trying to find
their happy
there.
medium, yeah.
And now when they thought they found it, the movie's overstepped at that point.
Exactly.
And so, like you said, after 3, it got a little jumbled. But
exactly.
even before then, again, the whole stealing thunder from Jill, stuff like that in Apocalypse, obviously, we're not going to
Yeah, we don't like that.
But Claire did that in this. Like, a character that you think should be baked into this properly is, like, too much of one thing that's overbearing. It's like, okay, we get it. You're cursing. Okay, we get it. You're
mad.
asserting yourself.
Somebody
with
hurt
the
you.
shotgun.
Okay, yeah, we get it.
And it's like, I understand you have a troubled past, but holy shit, man. Like, we have other characters here, and I understand it's a Claire story, but man.
And Anthony said this after the movie,
been.
and I'm just going to repeat it so that, you know, I want everybody to know this. But that actor does not look 19.
No.
Not even close.
No, and I know she's 29, probably shot it when she was 28 when they filmed the movie. I don't give a fuck. They could have went with someone else.
Yeah.
And even if they did, it still would have been bad. Why? Because the screenplay was dog shit.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter who you fucking put in here, whether they're fucking white, black, Asian, doesn't
it doesn't matter. And
The
know,
script was
I know,
shitty.
you know how I feel. Leon's not Indian. Jill's not black. I mean, Jill is mixed, so I guess that's kind of accurate because she is Italian Japanese.
Right.
I get that, right? But Leon's white, right? He's Caucasian. They're the way they look, right? Sherry's got blonde hair. Let's nitpick, right? Like all this stuff. Willem Dafoe.
Why do you keep calling him
Because his name is William Birkin.
Well, Willem and William. Two
Yeah,
different
yeah.
names.
Well, no, I keep calling him Willem Dafoe because Willem Dafoe is in that movie. He was on the credits of that movie.
Oh yeah, I know.
Gucci or something like that, whatever that was.
House of Gucci.
Yeah,
or
House of
whatever,
Gucci.
Yeah.
We saw that, but he's not old. He's not old like that, right?
No.
But at the end of the day, if that was the only problem with these characters, I'll forgive it. You know, Avan Yogia is a great actor. I really like Avan Yogia. If he would have clean shaven, he would have been fine. If they would have just pushed it a little further to get him to look more like Leon, he would have did a great job. I mean, the script was bad, but he could have done Leon if they had him given a proper script, right? At the end of the day, Claire was just badly written. And don't even get me started on the Ashfords being phoned in out of nowhere.
Even said when we saw that in the trailer, the first trailer, first trailer breakdown.
Yeah.
When we were like seeing all this for the first time, we were like, they're just gonna shoehorn that in.
Yeah.
Or set up a Code Veronica sequel /4, which is what we said.
Lisa Trevor fighting the liquor.
That was the dumbest thing in this whole movie.
It was so weird.
That was the dumbest thing in this whole movie, in my opinion. I think one of the dumbest things.
I think it's the second dumbest thing.
I would okay. I think the dumbest thing was how they neutralized the city. That was the dumbest.
That was a terrible ending.
It was such a bad ending. That was the worst thing. Second thing is Lisa Trevor knocking out the liquor and snapping its neck and breaking it. Why? Why couldn't you just have them take it out? Why? I understand.
Now, some things I do appreciate, just because there's very few. So let me just get them out of the way, and then you can tell me yours.
Yeah.
I appreciate that Sherry had a nightmare about the hunter. I thought that was cool. Sherry was garbage, but she was a paper bag. She didn't need to be in this movie. But I appreciate that she dreamt about a hunter.
Yeah, and with the raccoon incident, they got to write her in somewhere.
I appreciate the set pieces, or the set design, whatever. I also appreciate like the rocket launcher ending. Like, I appreciate that a rocket launcher was used to end Birkin. How that was done was garbage. Like, it was over as soon as it started.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed Claire or Chris or whoever the fuck, threw him. Not to mention that rocket launcher would have killed Chris.
Imagine if they had like the falling platform scene, or where
imagine if they had
extends.
anything.
Yeah, if they had more to just like
imagine if they had hunters.
Train. Yeah, and more like, I don't know, Resident Evil 1 enemies like hunters, or the snake.
Other than Chris in the dining room and Richard in the stairwell. When did Leon, Claire, Chris, Wesker, Jill, when did any of them fight multiple zombies?
Barely.
They were almost never in danger.
No
Mr. X, no Nemesis, no hunters, barely Cerberus dogs.
Oh my god. Not one.
Barely zombie attacks.
2 if you count the trucker dog, but 2 dogs. 2.
So Leon killed 1 zombie. Chris killed a bunch that you couldn't see. Claire shot a couple zombies, shot Birkin. Fire extinguished the dog. The fucking no. You know what the stupidest scene was? And I mean stupid as in it was probably the most enjoyable scene of the whole movie. When fucking Chief Irons quit and Leon was like, "Sir, sir, and he was like, "You're in charge now,
Yeah.
bitch boy." And
Yeah.
he's just like, "Here you go."
I like how he walks out with the box. Too.
Yeah, he walks out with the
he literally
box.
is like, I'm leaving to
just to
drive
come
right
back because that whole scene was a waste of time. And we're rambling a little bit because it's all over the place, but it's a first watch. You have any closing thoughts? Because the only closing thought I really have is like, at the end of the day, I just want to know why. That's it. I just want to know why. Why did you do this to the game or to the movie? Why did you do this to the characters we love? Why did you even try?
Yeah, I mean,
like, why did you have such a good idea in theory on paper before you put the characters on the paper and then put all the characters in the wrong places? Like, why?
Yeah, I think it's like one of those things where...
And the movie definitely needed to be like 45 minutes longer. In my opinion, for this to work the way they wanted it to, do not be surprised if there's an extended cut. But that's all I have to say for this video, so I'll pass it to you.
I think the reason why we're acting the way we are is because we kind of expected it, but also, and prepared ourselves, but also, like, it's not a good movie, don't get me wrong, but it didn't piss me off.
Yeah. It pissed me off. Leon and Jill's treatment pissed me off. The actual movie made me laugh more than made me angry.
Yeah, I think that obviously there's stuff they did that pissed me off, but I wasn't like fuming when I left. I don't think any of us were. We were just kinda like,
I don't think we were.
But again,
it wasn't like Village.
But again, I'm not lessening the blow. It's still a bad movie, and I would still give it a D. But
a D is where I'm
But I would also say that we've been burned multiple times before on these movies. So when you've been burned, you know, maybe I'll say 3 times or 4 times if you even want to count Extinction. Some people would say they got burned on all 6. Are you really going to be fuming by the time you leave this? This is what I expect out of video game movies now. And it sucks that I have to say that. And I don't care if you have a hard-on for Uncharted. I don't care if you have a hard-on for Mortal Kombat. It doesn't matter the property. I don't give a fuck how much money Sony puts into what. It doesn't matter. Video game movies typically are shitty. And we always deal with this fucking problem every time. So I think at the end of the fucking day, I wasn't really surprised when I walked out of here. I didn't feel completely pissed, but I definitely was angry about some things that they did. But I'm not going to like lose sleep over it because at the end of the day, video game movies, for the most part, have always been fucking shitty.
And they're not canon to the main story. So I don't really care about them.
No.
It is what it is. At the end of the day, video game movies can be great. They need to be approached differently from this point going forward, or it's never going to work. Uncharted has a couple things in its favor. I'm not an Uncharted fan. You are. But Uncharted has a couple things in its favor because it's basically just a carbon. I know it's not exactly. But in order to make a good Uncharted movie, you really just have to kind of look at Indiana Jones movies and translate them. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's not easy because Tomb Raider fucking sucked, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the Tomb Raider movies weren't that great.
Right.
So, obviously, you could still fuck it up, but
I'd say
there's a formula that's there.
Yeah, I would say that formula it's easy, but then when I see, like, okay, Sully's young,
and
Nathan
it's
Drake's
fucking,
young, and they're throwing in stuff from 3 games into 1, and it's like, okay, why?
When you know the games, it makes it hard.
Right.
But something like Uncharted will do well because, like, in theory, obviously I don't know, but I'm saying it will do well because even though if you don't play the games, treasure hunt or go boo. Like, we're going for treasure. It's an adventure movie.
And I would hope it wouldn't confuse you with the plot. It could.
Yeah, it could.
With this, if you're a casual fan, you are going to be lost, and I think that's also something they failed from an artistic standpoint.
Yes.
Because even, say what you want, like you said earlier, Paul Anderson had that grasp where he wanted it to be, and it affected it. Mm-hmm. It affected it. He got the casuals.
Yep.
And then he got the fans.
They were on the back burner. It was casuals first, fans second.
Exactly.
This one was fans first, casuals second. Dude.
And still didn't benefit. And that's like
even though we complain about it, you always pick casuals if you want to make money.
Yeah.
This did not do that. This is going to bomb.
Right. Right. Now, even if it does well,
I don't think it will. But even if it does.
I don't think it will either.
Yeah,
because, again, we're putting it out.
Devil's advocate, go ahead.
Devil's advocate, exactly. You're putting out, week of Thanksgiving, all the stuff's against it. You didn't put it out in October because I don't fucking know why. This is, the 7th film not all connected, obviously. This is a reboot, but 7 films in.
Even though Paul's for some reason in the fucking...
And Paul's even in the credits still.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like 7 films in, and it's like, man, you're just still... It's just not working. So I'm fully convinced that unless it's a fan film or we make it one day, you know, as you know, in a fantasy world that we have a studio backing and full control,
or we can get in the right room,
right,
and get in front of people, or at least advise.
And people will be like, "Oh, that's pretentious," but I don't give a shit, right?
No, I will back you up and say any major Resident Evil YouTuber, any of them, not just us, could make a better movie with less money.
Exactly. And that's my point. It's the people that have the money and that write the checks that have the power to make this thing into something that could be really well done, and then they still don't when they, again, have all these recipes and they fuck it up or they try to overstep themselves. So that's just kind of my final thoughts. I just think the screenplay's all over the place. The characters aren't our characters.
It's a clusterfuck.
It's
just
it
like
really
we
is a
predicted.
clusterfuck, and it's all over the place.
And it's not enjoyable. There's barely any payoffs. Everybody phones it in,
and
basically.
if Barry and Rebecca were in this movie, it'd be worse.
It would be worse.
It would have just been more.
They cut characters
that got shoved. Yeah, they got the shitty end of the stick. They would have gotten less screen time. It just would have been a mess anyway. You don't want those characters on screen.
No, you don't. I would argue there was too many characters anyway because of the way that they tried to do it.
Too much plots going on. Too much shit happening at once. Could have been scaled down. Could have been paced better.
Resident Evil 1 and 0 should have been the first film.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 2 and 3 should have been the second film. And honestly, if they couldn't do that and they wanted to do this back and forth thing, I would have been cheeky with it. I would have made 2 hour 47 cuts of different positions, and I would randomly throughout the entire world show film A and B, and then just have them both. You see both sides of the story. They come together at certain points, but you see both sides of the story. Give more time to flesh things out, or pick a fucking lane and stick in it. The movie was bad. And there's a lot that needs to be fixed. I actually think there's so much that needs to be talked about to be how to fix this movie if it was going to be good, that it actually warrants like some critical thinking and maybe its own video.
Oh, I was going to say, we're definitely going to do a follow-up on this.
Yes.
We might even check it out a second time. Who knows?
Yes.
Maybe. Because it will be coming to streaming. Not streaming, but it will be coming to a lot of these movies when they're put out in this climate right now. They come out way faster online. So I think that, we'll be able to check it out again and kind of like sit on more of viewings and see where we.
And I would love for a 4K copy. Also, the movie didn't even look that great, but that's besides the point. I would want a 4K copy because I really want to see behind the scenes. I want to see the interviews and shit.
Yeah.
I got to know more because I'm left with just wondering why.
Also, Parker and Sam were with us. Yes, SS Deity and Sam were there, and Sam brought up a good point. They took out the bending of the bones, so like where she was like going like this, and it was like have like Lisa Trevor.
Yes, they took out a lot of parts.
A lot of stuff that's cut. So again, like John said, with a 4K release or something, I'm curious to see if there's another cut.
I definitely think there's an extended cut.
If there's and if there's a director's cut,
we always judge it based off of that.
If there's a director's cut, like what was added or what was taken out that really like affected it, and if it was put in, would it save it? That's only really an answer we have if we watch the extended cut and we tell you it
when Roberts
because it was 2 hours plus,
goes to sleep at night and he thinks about this movie all the way up to release. How can you think he was happy with this? Like, if he is a fan, that's it.
Here
just
comes
money.
The money.
Yeah,
Here
what
comes
money?
the money?
He's gonna get fired and never get another job,
but
bro.
the thing is, they already got paid. So
I know. It's just
that's just the way these studios work, man.
I just wish it would have been like at least like
he's on to the next thing. He's on the fucking whatever 47 meters down part 2.
They could have just did something to make this better, and I'm just so miserable about it.
I liked Strangers Pray at Night more than I like this, but at least that wasn't a pre-existing.
Yeah.
Well, there was a Strangers 1, but it wasn't a video game property. He did take something that he didn't write, something that was already there in a movie and made a sequel to it and put an 80s spin on it, and I kind of liked it, but it still wasn't like the greatest. I wasn't like, oh my god, this guy is a horror fucking master. I don't think he captures horror and suspense as much as he led on to
This was not horror.
He tried to sell people and deter them, being like, I know horror. I know action.
This was
Those Paul
another
Anderson movies. Forget them. I can do this better, and it didn't work.
This was another example of somebody who thinks horror is cheap jump scares.
Yeah,
there was no suspense,
and
other than the first 5 minutes.
2 deaths I liked. Ben, I love the blood squirt out of the neck.
Ben was good,
and the liquor decapitating Chief Irons.
Yeah, I didn't even see a decap. I thought it was just his body that fell. I didn't even see. I just thought it looked like his throat was slit.
I thought
But if it was decapped or not, it doesn't matter. Like, it was good. That was the only good death.
Maybe I saw it wrong. I could have, but
or I could have.
Yeah, again, second viewing that will fix some of those little things we might have overlooked or didn't see. But for the most part, we were paying attention with eyes open and with fans' eyes. I think that's important. Is that we're watching this with fans' eyes, and that's
experienced fans,
and we were still fucking confused. So a casual, do not recommend. So
no shot.
Casual,
no shot.
Yeah, so don't recommend that. But obviously, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up for this video, and we really appreciate you guys waiting for the return of not only John,
hello,
but the Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast, because we're back. We're going to be working on the Code Veronica show finally. And so that will be coming up in December in the next couple of weeks as we start working on that. And we'll continue to review our live action films, starting with, picking up from Extinction.
And I'll be basically back the second week of December.
Right. Yeah. So this is kind of like, just announcing that, the show's back. We're here. John's back. And
still dealing with health things. Still got to deal with appointments and stuff, but I'm going to be back. Essentially.
Yeah. So, while we get things in motion, we wanted to, get this off the ground first and put it out on the 24th because that was the plan all along, is to cover this stuff as it comes out. We've been covering this movie for a year now, so this kind of puts a little bookend on it until we revisit it for some videos, maybe comparing it to some Paul Anderson stuff, other discussion points. Let us know in the comments below. Did you like it better than Paul Anderson films? Did you like it just as much? Obviously, no toxicity. That's not what this community is about, but we do want to let your voices be heard, and you won't be silenced or censored. Just be nice to everyone, because it will divide some people, and that's fine. I'm already getting ready for the comments. I know it's going to be back and forth, but that's okay. But I guess we'll see what the hell the fucking future brings as far as the live action stuff. Man, the Netflix thing hasn't even been talked about, but I don't even want to think about that right now. I just want to cleanse the palate.
Billy and Jade Wesker.
Yeah, I just want to cleanse the palate a little bit and just forget about live action RE for a little bit. But that's it for the show, guys.
Yeah, man.
So
thank you for watching.
Watching and all the love and support despite the different opinions and stuff. And that's Welcome to Raccoon City in a nice little podcast episode. So that's it, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.